I don't know how many of you noticed, but when Todoroki said, "I'm watching," and he yelled it at his father, that was his direct response or answer to Endeavor on what he said a while ago when he's like, "Just watch me." No joke, in a span of 30 minutes, I probably reread this about 15 times. It was that good. I legit kept rereading the chapter while listening to Just Another Hero OST from My Hero Academia. I just kept listening to that song on repeat while repeating the chapter over and over and then looking at previous Endeavor scenes throughout the manga. Just like, Horikoshi, you you made me a fan. You made me a fan of Endeavor. I cannot believe I'm actually even saying that. Honestly, this is my reaction. What happened in the past when we saw one of, Endeavor's used to be fans see him change. That's my reaction as well. Just like, yeah, I'm like, how? How have you done this? When I saw the man stand up and raise his arm after High End was on the ground, and you see All Might's reaction, I'm just mind blown. And it's just, I cannot wait to see this animated. I cannot be the only one while reading this chapter was just like, in their mind, they're like, oh my god, this looks incredible. I cannot imagine how this is going to look when it's animated. I mean, picture it like this in your mind. Just imagine this, okay? Like, close your eyes or whatever and just imagine. Imagine seeing the flames around Endeavor while he is going up in the sky, and you see the wings. You actually see wing flaps. Like, if you look very closely, the quality of the scans were kind of bad, I'm going to be honest here, but if you look very closely, you see, like, the whooshing effect and all that, and the wing flapping, trying to get up into the sky where Endeavor can use his main ability and use Plus Ultra, which I'll get into that in a moment, but the wing flap from Endeavor, oh my god, just imagine a zoom out of that. Like, imagine, like, the anime zooming out from that scene. You see his wings flapping up and all that as he's getting higher and higher, while fire's coming from underneath him and all that, and he literally becomes a giant sun in the sky. You can even see it from the people's perspective on the ground. He lights up like a sun, and then all of a sudden, after he uses the attack, he comes falling down like a meteor, and you're like, holy crap. Like, just imagine how insane that's gonna look in the anime. Like, imagine, like, the camera rotation, probably the helicopter coming in, rotating around, the meteor coming down to, just Endeavor flapping up, getting higher into the sky. I just cannot begin to imagine how good it's gonna look when that happens. I mean, it's a while off. Like, that entire event of what happened this chapter, that's a while off. I mean, we got like a whole other season. Like, the next season of the anime is obviously going to focus entirely on Overhaul and the entire arc with, Eri and stuff. So, we're not going to get Endeavor for probably like a year and a half, 2 years. So, it sucks, but at the same time, it's worth the wait. But I cannot imagine how good it's going to look after looking at the way this chapter was done. But okay, let's get into what you want me to talk about. I want to talk about the Endeavor stuff so bad, but let's get the Dabi stuff out of the way first, because I know everybody is itching for me to mention that, and I couldn't talk about it really on Twitter, my thoughts on it, because I don't want to spoil anime only, so I'm going to get right into that first, get it off my chest, get it out of the way, for then I could get into the, the stuff with the Phoenix, to, Icarus and all that, to the Meteor, with Endeavor. I'll talk about all that in a bit, but let's get Dabi and Endeavor's relationship out of the way. So if you have been following My Hero Academia for a while, the manga and all that, and you're a part of the community, most likely you have heard, not just from me, but from others, that there is a theory on Dabi that, potentially he could be the son of Endeavor and the brother of Todoroki, because there's been many instances we've seen throughout the series to where it seems very, easy for, you to pair up Dabi being the son of Endeavor. Like, for instance, Endeavor never was in the bar when, the heroes raided them and all that, the heroes raided the villain hideout. Endeavor never went in there to actually see Dabi, and then Dabi's name was never mentioned or name dropped, so we never really got to know what his full name was. But then on top of that as well, when he looked at Todoroki, and he's like, oh, feels bad, man, pretty much that's what he said to Todoroki when he lost to him, and, Dabi got away, it seemed like Dabi knew who Todoroki was, and he was trying to pick on him in a way. So when you look at the scenes we've seen with Todoroki and Dabi, and then Dabi, just being around in the series, it seems like Dabi's always had this potential potential possibility of being the son of Endeavor. And so with this final panel of the chapter with Dabi popping up, it's fueling the people that are constantly been on board with the theory of Endeavor and Dabi being father and son. Now, personally, I'm on that ship. I'm on board with that theory. I truly do believe that Dabi and Endeavor, they're related. They're both family. And it would make a lot of sense, because when you think about the recent chapters that's been coming out for My Hero Academia, we know that there's another sibling. It's already been established a long time ago, but in recent chapters, we know that there's been a sibling that's been shadowed out, and we don't really know much about them whatsoever. And that could easily be Dabi, which, turned to a villain because of how his father was, how he neglected his family, and Dabi became a villain to get away from his father. And so that would also explain why he would want to be like Stain, or follow Stain's, ideals, because the very person that Stain would want to take down would be Endeavor. And so obviously Dabi would want to join the villains, the League of Villains, if he found out that Stain was like that. I mean, he would want to take down Endeavor, his father. So yeah, everything kind of adds up when you look at it, and right now, Dabi popping up is a very scary situation for a lot of reasons. Number one, for the political aspect of this series, or the media coverage, but also because of Endeavor's situation right now. It's very apparent after what Endeavor just went through in this fight, going up against High End, that he does not have the strength to fight. He doesn't. And Hawks, he's pretty much out of the game as well. His entire quirk is pretty much gone right now. We don't know if it'll ever recover, which I'll get into, but basically, nobody can really stand up unless another hero comes in and saves Endeavor, which there is a lot of heroes, but I just don't know if anyone could relatively stand up to Dabi. We never really got to see his upper limit or how crazy he is. It's very apparent, though, he's not probably as strong as Endeavor. He doesn't believe he probably can take Endeavor because he let High End do the fighting. But regardless, though, right now, Endeavor, he can't really do anything. He's literally out of fuel. He's burning up. He can't move. He even states at the end he can barely move whatsoever, and he's down. And then Hawks can't fly right now because his wings have been burnt up into ash. So Dabi's there about to just, pluck his life like it's nothing. But there is another possibility that I do want to get into. Another possibility is the fact that we know there's always been something behind the scenes ever since the end of the Overhaul arc. We know the League of Villains, they got the anti-quirk erasing bullets. They have bullets that can get rid of quirks. They stole that from Overhaul, and, the police and all that. They stole that. So, when you think about the situation right now, what if Dabi has those bullets on him, or at least one or two, and he shoots Endeavor and removes his quirk? That would be a big hit. It would be honestly worse than killing Endeavor, because then their number one hero is powerless and can never get back up. I mean, it would be even greater threat to terrorize every single hero out there, because if they were under the threat of knowing that their quirk can just be gone like that, then that's even more, worse than just killing Endeavor. So, think about it like that. Most likely, judging by the way the story's been building up thanks to the Overhaul arc and all that, and what the League of, Villains did, there's a possibility that, Endeavor's about to get shot by one of those bullets, or Hawks. Now, here's the thing that could potentially happen. You have it to where Dabi, he has one of those bullets, he could shoot it at Endeavor. He might have two on him, we know they have more than one, but he might have brought one just to be able to shoot Endeavor, because they don't have that big of a supply of them. And most likely, Hawks could jump in front of Endeavor and take the hit, and he loses his quirk, because we don't really know if his quirk can even come back. We don't know if it's permanently gone or not. But the point stands is that could happen. But even if it does happen, I feel like Dabi's just not going to pack up and leave. He's going to do something else. He might, take out Endeavor and try to kill him, even if Hawks tries to take the bullet. But even then, though, another thing you got to look at as well is that I don't think Horikoshi would do that. And let me explain why. The reason why I don't think he would have Hawks jump in front of Endeavor is because it would be reusing what kind of happened to Togata in the Overhaul arc. Now, I know they're heroes at the end of the day, and they would jump in front of a bullet to save as a villain. That's common sense, and if it does happen, it still fits in line with the story. But in terms of writing, though, I just don't think Horikoshi as a writer, with how good he has been as a writer, he would use that exact same formula, that element he used already, and have Hawks jump in front of Endeavor and take an anti-quirk bullet. So, Endeavor most likely could get hit, which, like I said, would be very bad. And then Hawks could get killed in front of him, and Endeavor can't really do anything to stop it because he doesn't have a quirk anymore. But here's another thing we also have to look at as well. It's not just the fact that Endeavor's life is on the line, but also on top of that, he's going to be all in the media, regardless if he gets away from Dabi or not. And that means that his past might come out to bite him. I've been talking about this constantly since this arc began. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time until it happens that the truth gets out and everybody knows about what Endeavor did. And because of that, I feel like if the Furies are true about Dabi, and that he truly is the son of Endeavor, he's going to let everybody know the truth. They're going to start diving into it. Regardless if they don't believe it, they believe a villain's words, the media's going to look into it, regardless. And so because of that, that's going to make Endeavor look really bad when they do find out. He's going to have to defend himself, go to a talk show. It's going to be bad. And so, yeah, it's seeming like what we think is going to happen might actually happen. That's a possibility. Endeavor's reputation is about to get dragged straight into the mud because of Dabi's appearance. With Endeavor beating High End and being weakened, that's kind of what happened to All Might. He was weak and couldn't do anything after his fight with All for One, but someone else popped up. It's kind of like, hey, you just took down the mini-boss, but the main boss just came in just to destroy you. So, yeah, All Might, honestly, if another villain would have popped up at the end, he would have probably not been able to do anything. So it's kind of like, what All Might went through, but then even worse things stacked on top of another boss came in just to finish the job. So that's a scary thing to look at when you look at the way this chapter was done. But okay, let's get into Endeavor, let's get into Hawks, let's get into what was going on there, and the fight and all that. So, number one, Hawks. Is his quirk gone? That is the question I know many are going to be talking about, myself included, because of how his quirk works. We know that he can detach individual feathers from his body and attach them to others, maneuver them around individually to be able to save people. We've already seen this. He has great control to be able to do that. And he gave Endeavor his wings to be able to fly, for he can be able to take out High End. It was a very ballsy move what Hawks did. He risked his life in that moment and almost had his entire head chopped off by High End. He managed to dodge it, by the way, but he risked his life in that moment, and giving Endeavor his feathers, they're burning up. Endeavor's radiating intense heat, and because of that, Hawks' feathers are not lasting. He even states multiple times throughout the chapter, his feathers were turning to ash. There was nothing he really can do, and because of that, it's bad because he can't fly anymore. The question is, does his feathers grow back, or are they permanently gone? That is the thing, because we know all quirks have a weakness. Every quirk that we have seen usually has a weakness, and that could potentially be Hawks' weakness. If his feathers all get destroyed, he's like Icarus. He falls to the ground and can't really do anything whatsoever. And that is the question many of us have right now. Did he sacrifice everything to be able to beat High End, to be able to allow Endeavor to beat High End? And I really wonder where Horikoshi is going to take his character if that is the case and he lost everything. Endeavor in his fight. Okay. I will say right now that Endeavor, the way he grappled High End and punched him through the teeth, that was ballsy. Like, he literally punched through the man's teeth. And if you look closely at the end, you'll see his fist is all messed up. It's shaded out. Like, Horikoshi censored the arm. He censored it. It's bad. Like, his arm is probably just destroyed, and because of that, it might have irreversible damage. He might have even burnt his hand. We know that he raises his body temperature and it gets hotter and hotter. For all we know, he might have burnt his hand. We don't really know if that is actually possible, if he can legit burn himself if it gets too freaking hot. So because of that, it makes you wonder, is his hand just bleeding uncontrollably but also burnt? I mean, it was completely blackened out and you saw blood leaking out because, obviously punching through the man's teeth, that's not an easy feat. And also with his regeneration, constantly regenerating, his teeth was probably coming back constantly and biting into Endeavor as Endeavor was just radiating and burning everything inside of the man's body and mouth. So There's a lot of questions I have, but that was ridiculous, the way he just manhandled High End, grabbed the man, like he literally wrapped his arm around High End, put his fist in his mouth, and was lighting him up. But I don't know how many of you noticed this, but while he was doing that, how he got higher with the wings as well, he actually had his feet positioned up against High End's stomach. He literally put his feet up against, and you saw the actual cloud, like the fire, coming out of the bottom of his feet, as he was like being Iron Man. He was launching himself in the sky like a meteor or something, or a rocket, while shooting through High End's body. That is insane. That, I don't know how many of you noticed that, but yeah, that actually happened. He was literally bursting his fire out of his feet straight through High End, while going higher and higher, while burning the man's mouth, while his fist is getting just chomped on repeatedly, probably by the teeth of High End. That's, oh my god. Like I said, I cannot wait to see that animated. Just imagine how that's going to look. But also, there's more as well. I mean, to the whole situation with the wings burning up, there was slow signs throughout the chapter where the wings were getting littler and littler and turning into ash. They were just disappearing slowly as he continued to radiate more and more heat while taking down High End, until they were completely gone and he started falling from the sky like a meteor. And that was... whoo! Yo! That meteor scene had me hyped, dude, when he was just falling from the sky and all that. And when he lands, he raises his arm, which that right there, oh, that is phenomenal quality. Like, Plus Ultra chapter, which, you know, that's a perfect segue to get into that. The Plus Ultra moment. Endeavor states he hated that line a lot. He does not like saying Plus Ultra. But he hated the line so much, and he wants to change, that he decided to say it just to be able to surpass his limits to take down High End. And when he said Plus Ultra and he went in, I just heard the voice actor of Endeavor just pop up in my head with that line being said, taking down High End. That's... this chapter was good. It was a really good chapter. Like, yo. That's a good chapter. Like, this was... and you can probably tell by my face of how good this chapter was. But okay. Let's talk about the Phoenix. Let's talk about Icarus. So, as I said before, there's two options right now that Endeavor was going through. Will he fall like Icarus, or will he rise like a phoenix? And in this chapter, you see that he was symbolized as a sun. And as you know from the story of Icarus, he got too close to the sun and his wings burnt up and he fell back to the ground. In this case, in this chapter, Endeavor was being symbolized as the sun, and Icarus, and the Phoenix as well. He was being symbolized as pretty much all pairs. I mean, Hawks is also Icarus because his wings got legit burnt up. But also in this story, Endeavor was Icarus because he had wings that were burning up because he got too close to the sun while trying to power himself up to take down this enemy. And then, once his wings collapsed, he fell down like a sun, like a star, from the sky and hit the ground. Now, he did rise back up with the steam and all that coming up, the smoke and ash. You see how the man, he rose back up. And in a way, you can look at that like a phoenix rising from the ashes, showing that he is not done. He has been reborn. And in the chapter, it is stated, the beginning. Now, like I said, this could be the beginning of the end. That could be the other part of the chapter, the message. But the beginning, which means the rebirth of someone, or, he is a phoenix. And so this could be Endeavor's start to truly being a proper #1 hero. And I just want to point out that with that being done, the whole symbolism for Icarus and all that could still be applied here, because, Dabi popped up. And even if he does rise like a phoenix, he still could be put down and be completely done and never be able to fly once again because of whatever Dabi has. If he has anti-erasing, like cork erasing bullets, if he hits Endeavor with it, he will never rise again. The sun, gone. Just completely done. It's out. So, yeah, it's interesting when you think about it like that. So, yeah, good chapter. Phenomenal chapter. the Todoroki stuff with him putting his hands up like this and then sitting down, like squatting down, I think that's probably one of the best underrated moments of the chapter I think many are going to overlook. And the reason why I say that is because even though Todoroki has a lot of reasons to hate his father, we've seen this time and time again, at the end of the day, Endeavor is still his father. It's like this, okay? No matter how much you hate a person, like one of your family members, like your father or mother or whatever, or brother or sister, they're still your family at the end of the day, regardless. That does not change. That blood does not go away, okay? And even though he doesn't like what his father has done, he does respect him as a hero. That has been shown. That, at the very least, Todoroki does respect his father for a hero. And seeing him, like, come down and just, like, do this, like, breathe easy and all that, it was very real. It was a very real portrayal of, you know, a character or a person, or how they would react if they saw their father in a situation like that, regardless of how, you know, they felt about them. So I felt like that was one of the most realistic scenes of the chapter, and highly underrated. Definitely one of the better scenes of the chapter, and easily makes the chapter that was already a 10 out of a 10, 11 out of 10. And yeah, I honestly, if I was rating this chapter, it's a masterpiece chapter. It's good. It's, yeah. So, I'm going to end this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.